What up, everybody? It's session canceled. We're back again. So the machine spirits have murdered Sam. He's no longer with... Oh.
Excuse me? What are you saying? Oh, I did not put in all of this work for you to slander me once again. All right?
They gave him back.
I'm getting the steel chair. No. What? I'm getting the steel chair. You're going down. This is my podcast now.
Sam, I'm allergic to chairs.
Oh, that's too bad.
It is too bad.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't think he'd get out of the abyssal realm.
It took me a lot of work and effort to get here, all right? You have
Sam's
no
back
idea.
with the steel chair, everybody.
You have no idea the deals I had to make, the steel chairs I had to steal.
Ooh, you had to steal steel chairs. That's exciting.
Yeah, I had to fend for myself somehow. You have no idea what's in there.
It's going to be the next Fast and Furious series. Stealing steel chairs.
Please
All
not.
about
This series needs to end.
And family.
What is this? Is this even a bit anymore?
I don't know where...
Has this ever been a bit? Have I been out of this loop the whole time? What is going on?
Absolutely.
I think we're in a new dimension now.
No, this is a new podcast. This is the wrestling podcast.
I'm not.
The ring's canceled.
The ring is canceled.
No, but seriously, welcome everybody. I'll be your host today. Here is with me. Oh God, I'm fucking this up. You can tell I haven't practiced. Josh.
Ding dong.
Isaiah.
I.
And Matt.
And his name was Sam. And we're sued.
That's it.
I don't think that was a good enough impression to get sued.
Good. Oh, dear.
Oh, fingers fucking crossed, but
yeah, no, let's not tempt the YouTube overlord. All right.
Yeah, dude, welcome back. How's it been?
Thank you. I mean, I've had the weirdest and worst 3 weeks. From being sick to my computer literally exploding to me fixing my computer and then it being a jet turbine. I don't even. Josh, you can post that video of my CPU just spinning up later for context.
I should, yeah.
I told you not to buy that computer at Mimics R Us. Come on, man.
I literally did.
Mimics
What are you talking about? All right, Matt, look, we can put that on a short later, but we're going to have to talk.
It's just a fan with eyeballs throwing the blade at you.
No, but, so you say that, but it literally did come off at one point.
It did try to... Sam's computer fan tried to kill him.
It literally, the CPU fan one of the blades snapped and flew and hit me in the face. I was like, all right, we're gonna not look at that anymore.
I thought you were joking.
No, absolutely not.
Oh,
no, it actually tried to kill him.
Yep.
Yeah,
I had a great time.
I see.
But yeah, that's all fixed. I'm no longer sick. I also moved during this time. So that's cool.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the order of operations was sick, and then computer no worky, and then move.
Yeah.
So that's why the Mechanicus stole Sam from us.
Yeah.
I don't even. Why do I keep referencing Warhammer? I don't even like Warhammer.
Because
I don't even know what the Mechanicus is.
Oh, you would love the Mechanicus actually.
Maybe.
Absolutely would. You'd think they're wild. A little stupid, but that's the best part about them.
I mean, yeah, probably. Anyway, we're not talking about Warhammer.
No, but you have made me completely forget about the topic idea that I had. Oh, dear Lord.
Did you actually forget?
No, I did forget until just this moment. I was like, it starts with the letter P. I know this. P.
It starts with the letter P.
Yeah, pre-written adventures. We're going to talk about pre-written adventures today. What were the bullet points that I gave for us to talk about?
You know, you said starts with the letter P, and I was thinking adventure. I was thinking, wait, but adventure starts with A.
So you're it's okay. Fuck. All right.
Yeah.
At least Matt didn't come out with Fandelver.
Oh my god.
Yes, Mandelver, my favorite homebrew originals.
We're only gonna talk about fucking Lost Mine of Phandelver.
So
We can.
No,
Oh,
I think played that one.
I haven't either.
Matt has.
yeah. I figured we talk like about what we've played, and
Well, that's part of the first bullet. So I know that not everybody here
Bullets!
has run.
Are you trying to kill us?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Hi. I mean, look, I could kill you with some stupid stuff. We don't need to get into that. However, the first bullet point that I made was how much prep should you be doing as the DM for a pre-written adventure? I think Matt and I are the only ones that have actually run a pre-written
Yeah, I have
adventure
basically
here.
nothing to add to that one.
Yeah, so I ran a few sessions of Horde of the Dragon Queen for my younger brothers, and I definitely put more prep time in than I do for my current game. So like, more. That's as good as it gets for me. You put in more.
All right, Matt.
I feel like that's a point of contention, though, because a lot of people say you do less for pre-writtens.
well, Josh, what do you? I guess like just throwing in the wild. Like, what do you think? Should a pre-written adventure have more prep, or should it be like
Well,
less prep to run? Like, what do you think?
I mean, like,
Shot in the dark from Sam.
as far as what I would like, I mean, okay, in an ideal world, I would think that they're well enough written that it should be less prep, or I don't even less is even the word, because you do have to read, which is time consuming.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of prep. Like, I would imagine the overall time amount is probably pretty similar, but as far as like active creative juices I need to expunge from my body to make a game work, I would hope that a pre-written would be less, but I have heard that a lot of them are, at least for D&D, I can't speak much about other games pre-writtens, and also other games I feel like have less of an emphasis on pre-written adventures than D&D does. But I've heard is that a lot of them are written in such a gobbledygook fashion that you end up expunging the same amount of creative juices from your body anyway. So yeah, in an ideal world, I would think they would be less. Again, less brain power, I guess. In an ideal world, they would require less brain power to run a pre-written, I think, is
Right.
the ideal. But yeah, I don't think that is the case, unfortunately.
All right. So we've got the wild card, and we've got the guy who's done a couple sessions. Matt, I think we're both about the same amount for.
That's right. Two halves of a whole idiot.
I didn't say that one, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm kind of on the camp of, I mean, there should be a little bit of prep no matter what. Like, you have to read the adventure, look over the monsters, all that stuff. But I think when running a pre-written, most people, including new DMs, are like, I want as little work as possible. I don't want to read the whole module and be like, well, clearly I have to change and do a shit ton of work to make this campaign run better. I'm fucking looking at you, Strixhaven.
Oh,
Like, pre-written adventure should basically be like, I can just read it, skim it, I can run it, and then I have enough prep work that I've done, just reading it and going over it, that I reach a point of preparedness where I can just run the module no problem, and be willing to deviate from the script of the adventure with no issues. Most of the adventures you can't. Some of them you can. But
Okay, wait, I want to establish a quick thing. Do we consider reading the adventure? Is when we use the word prep, are we lumping reading the adventure in with that?
Absolutely.
I think so.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause you have to read.
I
to
wasn't
understand
sure
the plot.
because if you say that reading is quote unquote not prep, then the idea of running a pre-written is significantly less prep, right? So but okay, so yeah, all right, so we're counting reading.
So and here's my little thing. All right.
I just needed a foundation.
I agree that you should not be having to do as much prep as the DM for pre-written adventures. 100%. You don't have to worry about maps. You don't have to worry about monster placement. You don't have to worry about like
the kinds of monsters you
the
use.
kinds of monsters. There's so much that you don't have to worry about. Now, of course, you can do random encounters during them, and sometimes they encourage this. However, the random encounters are usually a table that they've already done for you, and you just have to roll and then, maybe make a map yourself, or just find one that kind of fits and just use that. So you shouldn't have to do a lot of prep. However, in my experience, and Matt, I know you literally just mentioned Strixhaven. Unfortunately, the campaigns are usually written in a way that doesn't really it's not super cohesive, especially with the level 1 to 3 adventure. I think the one that I have found that is the most cohesive with the story and plot and the entirety of the campaign is actually Strahd. And that's because the Death House is just to show you how fucked Barovia is. So
if I remember correctly, at one point, Sam, you said you found prepping a pre-written to be even more stressful. And I think you were saying that when we were playing Strahd?
Yeah, so there are pieces of information. So really what a pre-written adventure needs to make this prep less obnoxious, I should say, is really just kind of make a checklist at the beginning of the adventure. And I mean checklist, not here's what you prep beforehand, of all possible quest items and other things that the players can possibly run into that are important, and be like, hey, you should go do this, it's at this page. You should do this is at this page. You should do this is at this page. And just have basically a glossary. It's really what I'm asking for objectives.
Some kind of a flow chart with major beats.
So some of them do.
So that's not exactly what I mean, because there is a flow chart at the beginning of most of these, but it's literally your players should be this level when they reach this dungeon.
Yeah, that's maybe not
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
because
I get what you mean. I'm trying to picture what it would even look like.
Sorry. No, go for it.
I don't really have a thought. I'm trying to think and talk at the same time.
It would literally just be a glossary. That's really what it should be.
I
it
feel
should be a glossary of objectives.
It should be presented a little bit better,
it should be presented
though, right?
better, but how are you going to do that? Because it literally becomes a checklist. So my specific example of this is there is the skull of a silver dragon that you have to find in Strahd if you want to complete a certain quest line. And it never lists where that is in the quest line in the specific part of that adventure. It doesn't tell you where it is.
Pause.
Pausing.
It doesn't say the location of the skull at all?
No.
Yeah, I was about to
and
say.
I looked through the entire book.
Hold on, wait.
And I could not find it.
Hold on. I feel like I'm misunderstanding. It doesn't say it anywhere in the book?
Yes.
Is it one of the randomized? Oh, sorry.
Does it give you suggestions?
Did not do any of that. Which is why I was like,
what?
And now I could be 100% wrong. I may just be blind. I literally told a story about how today I was looking for thermal paste at the store, looked at it directly because I knew where it should be located, didn't see it, went to a representative at the store, and they showed me exactly where I was looking 2 seconds ago. So, I could be blind.
Hold on.
However, I looked through the book. I own the physical and the digital copy of this book. I could not find it for the life of me. It does not give any suggestion as to where it is. It does not say in the specific area text where it is, which you would think that, if you're going to write an adventure and you're going to have a specific item and it's not something that the player themselves has written, you should, or the DM rather, you should have it listed where it is in that specific set of text. But no, it just didn't list it anywhere. So like,
Right.
yeah,
This is like
exactly.
blowing my mind.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm having
straight
a lot
up.
of thoughts in quick succession.
Yeah.
I thought it was in the castle.
No, because that's
could've-
where you're supposed to bring it back to after you find it.
Really? I thought you found it in Strahd's castle and then you have to bring it to the
So
church or
it
something.
doesn't say anything about it being in Strahd's castle.
Huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait.
Also, there's Strahd's castle, and then there's the castle that the Silver
The
Dragon
Silver
made
Peak
his
Castle or whatever, yeah.
Argent I believe.
Argynvost
thank
told
you.
that, yeah.
So like,
Wow, I just took from somewhere else. I made up a name apparently.
so you know, I don't know. But my point is that if you're gonna have stuff like that in your adventure, and Strahd did do something so that it has the tarot card. I'm forgetting the in-game
Taroka
name.
deck.
The Taroka, thank you. The Taroka deck, and it tells you to do all of that stuff before you start your adventure. Why not do that for all of the side quests? Like, it should have something like that at the beginning of every adventure, being like, hey, this is how you prep for this. These are the quests that you might run into. Just do a little bit of prep now, decide where this is going to be. Like, I arbitrarily decided that the skull was going to be in the castle. I'm sure that that's where it's supposed to be, but like...
Was the Taroka deck supposed to have an influence on its location, maybe? Was that an intended?
Nope.
No? Oh.
Nope. Not in the Taroka deck.
What did the Taroka deck actually do? Because it was not clear on a
The
player's side.
Taroka deck determined what quests you had to go and do. So like it literally, and it quite literally told you, you have to go to this place. This is the item you'll get. This is the thing you'll do.
Oh yeah, that was not clear.
You think so? Because like to me, that like I read the Taroka deck as just this is how you want to level up. This is how you're gonna do it. Like these are your specially tailor-made objectives for this campaign. That's what I got anyway.
Well, so I guess my disconnect, and actually, on a broader scale, maybe this is a commentary on pre-writtens in general. I think my disconnect was I did not think Strahd was going to be quite as like sandboxy as it was. So I thought the Taroka deck was just sort of like it's going to influence where and when certain like obstacles will pop up in front of you, but I didn't.
I mean, it
think-
also did that. It literally determines where Strahd appears in his castle.
Right, but like I thought it was a situation of like you're gonna go on the path and the Taroka will tell you what's gonna be on the path at point A, point B, and point C. I didn't realize it was this is what your quests are. Look for these things. So,
I mean,
but it was also a while ago,
little
so I
bit
may
of
have
column
just
A, a little
not
bit
been
of
paying
column B.
attention.
It's very possible because I believe I even made a handout for you to read over.
I do remember the handout, but like, yeah, I guess what it would be, I feel like it would be very helpful if the adventures were more direct and upfront about like the style of adventure they're supposed to be.
So that is one thing that I will say. I kind of wish I ran Strahd differently because I realized, like,
Afterward,
in retrospect, I feel like it definitely needed to lean more into the horror elements and just be a harder overall campaign, because it definitely felt like after a certain point it just became, well, this is goofball. And like I understand that, like, you know, my style of running games is gooberish. To
I was
an
gonna say
extent.
is
But like I wish I put more effort into the way that it was done, because, and this is kind of a more on the, unfortunately, you kind of have to do more prep if you want these adventures to be really fun. The campaigns themselves give the DM a lot of freedom because it just says, here are the pieces, now make them fit. And, you know, you can let your players kind of do whatever they want in the pre-written campaign. However, if you do that, you might run into situations where you're like, oh, I don't exactly know how to run this, or I don't remember all of the information here because they went to a dungeon or a quest that I don't remember very well, and like we're only halfway through the session, so now I'm going to be reading the whole thing. So there's a whole lot that it goes into it.
Okay, so I have a few thoughts. The first one, if I'm a little spacey today, but the first one you're saying like it was, I actually think it was very difficult most of Strahd up until we got like more players, because I know we were really struggling for those first like 15 sessions or so.
Oh yeah, no, and that's what I mean. I felt like it should have kept that difficulty the whole way, not harder like, oh yeah, the death house should have killed you guys, because it almost did several times. But I wish that it had kept that particular difficulty the whole way through, or I had made it so that it was more balanced for the 5 players than before, because it got a little ridiculous after that.
Okay. I can't remember at all what my second point was, so it might come back to me. It might not. I don't know.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So I'll go into my second bullet point if anybody doesn't.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
Well, this is kind of to everyone. Because Sam was like, oh, because you mentioned that a lot of the stuff in the pre-writtens are laid out in such a fashion that it's like you as the DM take these, board pieces and place them where you will. And on one hand, I can understand the logic of, well, we don't want to constrict a DM so much that they don't feel like they're running their own game, like they don't have any freedom or whatever. On the other hand, though, it's like I'm buying this pre-written adventure because I want you to tell me what to do. If I didn't want you to tell me what to do, I'd just run my own thing. So, like, generally, across the board, do we think that pre-writtens should be a little more firm and just tell you what to do more directly? Would that be preferable? Because I feel like it would be, but...
I feel like it should give options. Like, here's how this scenario can go 1, 2, 3, and or make one up. Like, they can be firm with like, here are the 3 scenarios we came up with for the ending of this adventure. If you don't want to do any of these, that's fine. But these are the 3 we had in mind.
Yeah, I'm thinking of something similar to that, where like if we're talking about the skull in Argynvost, it could be like, the skull of Argynvost is held in this location. If you don't want it to be here for whatever reason, you can think about putting it here, here, or here. Like, I think I'd prefer that.
Yeah. I guess that's a decent middle ground.
So, I think that they should definitely be firm, but like, and this is just me because I do this all the time. You should just be able to change scenarios regardless. Like, I literally have changed, most encounters we've had after like, getting a grasp for what the party is. I remember during Avernus, in the first dungeon, you guys encountered an old woman, and the old woman was supposed to be one of the cultists using this guy's self. Right. And you guys were like, this old woman's gonna betray us, blah, 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 blah. Me sitting there and thinking to myself, I changed this old woman out, or the cultist, for a real old woman.
Just got lost in this dungeon. You're like,
was kidnapped. But yeah, so like I think they should definitely be firm. They should definitely have, just something to help the DM further the campaign along, other than, so here's all these things. Yeah,
because my thing is always, the ability to change things and say, no, I don't think I will, is always implied with all tabletop things, just by the nature of how the, hobby functions. So I don't feel like you need to write in, like, you can, I don't feel like you need to imply or write in the, like, you can change it if you want kind of stuff, because that's always present, which is, so I'm like, I don't need you to tell me I can change it. I know I can change it. I want you to tell me what you think the adventure should be. And then if I really don't like it, then I'll, do what I gotta do. Although I'm fine with a couple of options too, but I as long as those options aren't wishy-washy, because that's the thing that annoys me. It's like, oh, because I think if I remember correctly, the green stones in Strahd were the same thing, where it was like the third one they didn't tell you where it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, we're not going to tell you where the third one is. You could just put it wherever you want. It's like, well,
so
no, give me a couple of...
It did literally say, hey, the third stone is where you want it to be, versus the skull, which was like, question mark?
Yeah, I don't really like either of those. I would prefer just be like, the stone would, most likely, this is the location it would be, And then maybe it could potentially be here. And then just, that's it. Like you give and also on top of that, if you put a couple of options in, if you say it could be A, B, or C location, then without saying it directly, you are implying to the GM without saying it, hey, if you want to move it around, you can, because we moved it around. So obviously you can move it around, right? And you don't have to say any of that in the text. It's all just implied by the fact that you gave a couple of different location options.
Yeah, but I also think that not saying it or saying it doesn't really do anything. Like, yes, it's implied all the time, but you also have to think about this from the perspective of a new DM who's not used to running this. So, like, yeah,
I feel like new DMs want you to tell them what to do even more, though.
They might.
They might, but that's the thing, because it's not really necessary. Like, I trust new DMs to do this, but they might also be like, not sure if they should do something or if doing something is appropriate. Like, I have one of the players in my Monday game is like, hey, I'm thinking about running D&D. Can you like help me? Or if I ever have any questions about something, like, can I just ask? I'm like, yeah, sure, ask away, because I'm not gonna give him the Sam answer. I'm going to give him the this is how you can do things answer. Because the same answer would be LOL Lamau,
Gelatinous
the Dull Black Dragon, Gazebo, Mimics.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking much the same thing, where it's like, I see what you're saying, but I'll have to agree with Sam, where if you're a relatively new player, you're not gonna really, you most likely won't understand that context of like, oh, well, I can change it anyway, right? Like, there could be this genuine fear of like, well, if I change this, what happens here? Do I mess anything else up? What, like, will it make sense? Will it not make sense? There's I feel like this is more of a accessibility option than anything else. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
That being said, I find pre-written adventures to be one of two things. I do find them fun, depending on the group. Unfortunately, sometimes you just get a bad group that doesn't understand the structure, I guess I should say, or you get people that are like, I want to be Batman, and you get characters that don't really fit, which is a whole other thing. Getting players to choose like specific backgrounds or be like, hey, try to make yourself fit in with the campaign setting, like give me a reason as to why you're here, can be difficult, because like there are plot hooks that some of the campaigns give you. So like Strahd literally has like 3 or 4 plot hooks. Then I don't even remember why Avernus is like, hey, so give me a reason as to why your players are going to Baldur's Gate, but like they don't really have a choice because this guy's gonna just enlist them. Like that just happens. That's the whole reason. So it's like kind of annoying in a way, because it's like, oh man, the players arrived, okay, now the adventure's starting, let's go, and then the time that you spend in Baldur's Gate is almost meaningless, because like there are connections between Baldur's Gate and Avernus, because it's like, hey, you found this item and possibly this character that's connected to the city that disappeared, and then you get this item, and it's like, well, I can't unlock this item, so I gotta go to this place, and maybe they'll be able to do it for us because they're super smart over there. And then they're like, well, you need to go to Avernus because that's where it is. We figured it out. You got to go there. You got to save them. And it's like, but why do the players have a connection to that? You know? So at least with Strahd, it's like, oh, you know, you heard that there's some werewolves in this area, and like you're really gung-ho about murdering some werewolves, so go and do it, you know. And then you just get stuck, and it's like, well, I now we're stuck. How do we get home?
Well, Strahd's also easy because you literally at the start just go, all right, players, you end up in this place, and LOL, you're trapped. So like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what your character motivation is. Like, you want to leave.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the thing, is what I'm saying, is that, like, you know, with Avernus, if you had actually just been trapped in Avernus from the start,
From the get-go, yeah.
it probably would have been more compelling for you to try to at least leave, you know?
Yeah.
Because in Avernus, it's literally like, hey, go to Avernus, you know, go save these people. And it's like, what if I'm playing an evil character? Smile. Like, why do I care?
It's like, what if I don't care about the people down there?
Yeah, there is
Why do
this
I
weird
care?
thing of like, you know, like in Avernus, the character's like, you need to go to hell, literally, to save the day. I could see a lot of characters being like, I don't want to do that.
Exactly. So, like, you know, there's also that piece of prep that has to happen, because it's like, it literally is a discussion with your players. Like, why does your character care about this place?
Yeah, I don't know if adventures do it, but I definitely feel like as a GM, you should always give your players like an opening little pitch thing. It'd be like, here's the scenario, here's the setup, connect yourself to this thing. If you need any other information, I'll you know, skibbity bop you some deets.
Yeah, we'll talk about it or whatever.
Yeah,
like during
so,
session
like,
0 or beforehand, you know.
And
I almost feel like
I'm not gonna
adventures should give a couple of like possible reasons your characters are connected to this kind of paragraph, chapter or something.
What I was saying. So, like, there are literally hooks for Strahd like that written in there. Avernus, not so much.
All right, well, see, there you go. Higher.
I believe Fandelver is literally, you are there in like the new city. So there's also that. Now, that being said, specifically for the people who have played in more of them, do you find pre-written adventures to be fun to play in?
It's a loaded question.
I mean, I've enjoyed all the pre-adventures that I've been in.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the last 2 I've been in.
Yeah. Well, the question for me, like, okay, I'm gonna have to peel the onion a little bit back here. The question for me is not so much if it's,
So there's layers to this.
Onions have layers. The question for me is not so much if pre-writtens are fun, because like playing tabletop is fun. So yes, pre-writtens are fun. The question is, are pre-writtens more or less fun relative to a homebrew campaign, right? At least for me, anyway.
I mean, I'm not. That's not the question I'm asking. I'm just asking if it's
That's
fun.
an entirely different.
Well,
question.
I feel like that's.
I don't think it's relevant.
I don't think
honestly.
I don't think I can answer the question without the other half of it, kind of thing.
Why not?
Because like I feel like you have to compare like a like. I don't know. I mean, I guess if I'm not comparing, then like yes, for the most part. I don't know.
Well, I guess from the pre-adventures that you've played in, did
So,
you
like,
enjoy them overall? Like,
I've only done
you have-
4.
5.
right.
5.
Yeah. 3 from me. 2 from Matt.
2 from Matt.
Well, yeah, the White Plume Mountains.
White Plume
White
Mountain.
Plume Mountain, and then the one shot.
Oh yeah, I guess the one shot one was so quick. Sure. Yeah, I guess technically.
Which one shot one? The other one? that I
The
read?
Acquisition is Incorporated.
Oh, the
one
Acquisition
shot.
Incorporated. Right. Well, that. So now does that count as a pre-written?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
That doesn't count in my brain because it's not like a full adventure. It's just like a quick little
It's a
thing.
one shot. Well,
So, like,
pre-written.
It is
now.
okay. Yes,
It's pre-written material.
It's
It is,
pre-written
okay,
material. The thing is my expectations and my judgment of a thing that's intended to be like a one or a two shot like is much lower than a full-on pre-written adventure that you're going for a while with. So like I don't put a lot of pressure if it's a little one session thing. I don't put a lot of pressure on it. I don't really judge it. It's kind of like the difference between like a movie or a show for me. Like for me personally, maybe this is some blasphemous shit, whatever. Fuck it. Like I don't invest as deeply in a movie as I do shows a lot of the time because the sort of difference in time and like scale. So for like a little one shot session pre-written thing, like it is a pre-written, but I don't lump it in the same bag necessarily.
I think we're kind of like mixing, well, not mixing really, but like it's like there are pre-written adventures, which is a very big, wide topic, can spread from one-shot adventures to full-on campaigns. And then I think what we're kind of like, we're talking about that, but then also we are guiding it more towards pre-written modules, which is like, here's a full campaign, a full story from level 1 to whatever the fuck. Yeah,
I mean, they're both
that also
pre-written
falls in, but-
adventures. One is just shorter.
I mean, they are, yeah.
Much shorter.
There are
the
same,
keyword here is
I mean,
adventures, not campaign,
True.
I guess, yeah. I don't. Anyway, point being, of the
Yeah, but
ones
have you
I
enjoyed
played, I mean, yeah. Well, Storm King's Thunder was kind of.
Listen. All right, we don't need to talk about
That game was a little messy. But yeah, like
if you want to talk about a
Strahd and Avernus.
1 to 3 adventure that doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any fucking sense,
connecting it to the rest of it. That one, because honestly, you I don't know. You should just make your party a response team to the Giants instead of making them go through that, so that they actually have a reason to do things.
I don't even.
Honestly,
I don't even know what the fix would be, but it needs something.
Do what I've been doing. My Saturday games is literally we went from Lost Mines of Fendelver right into Storm King's Thunder, and it's been like, again, I've been in the campaign for 4 years. It's been fun, crazy nonsense. It's great.
You also have not you followed the path, but you also did a lot of.
We took a lot of
homebrew
detours
stuff for 2 years.
Yep. Yeah, we took a lot of detours, a lot of the DM was super cool, and he used a lot of outside resources and investing in player backstory and mining that and using adventures that we've for our backstories, taking oh, this character does this thing, well, let's go over there for a while. Oh, and this person came up from their backstory, so let's do that for a while. And then, oh, hey, the Giants are doing this thing, so we'll focus on the Giants now. So it's a lot of hopping back and forth between, I'm assuming anything involving the Giants, I'm assuming is in the module, but I don't know, because
Mostly, it's been a while since I've read the book. I mean, I literally could go pull it out. It's in my closet.
Okay.
But
well, no, because I don't want to spoil anything for myself, even though I'm towards the end.
Near
I think
the end.
I think
I
I'm
can't
towards the
believe
end.
you're not finished with the game already.
Yeah. Yeah.
I figured out a more cohesive response. Because I don't want to just be well, pre-writtens are fun, because even a shitty pre-written, someone who's good at GMing can make fun. That almost doesn't feel I almost feel like I can't really answer that. But the thing I can say is the fun of a pre-written, or even not even necessarily the fun, but the interest of a pre-written for me is looking at the game and saying, okay, designers of the game, how do you think this game is supposed to function? How do you think this game is supposed to go? That's the part I think is fun with the pre-written, because it's the best way to be, it's the best way to see how the designers intended us to play the thing. Because, in a video, if you're playing a video game, it's well, you can't not play the way the designers intended because you're constrained. In a tabletop game, you could, go buck fucking wild. So I think the fun of a pre-written for me is that exploration of putting the constraints in place and saying, okay, Daddy Crawford, tell me how the D&D's works, or at least how you thinks it works, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. Yeah, like I enjoy pre-writtens because it's a more streamlined experience, right? It's like, okay, like I make my character to do the thing. I don't really make them to experiment because it's not really the place to experiment. So more often than not, the characters are better at doing the thing that needs doing versus a more long form campaign where I can get experimental and try things out if I want to, or sort of take a character in a weird direction because there's no expectation to be like, oh, well, I can't make them kind of weird because then they won't fit in with the story. And if they don't fit in with the story, then I'm not going to want to play them. And then it just sort of snowballs from there. So I would say in some aspects, I probably like pre-writtens more than homebrews. But in others, it's the opposite.
Understandable.
I think I generally like homebrew campaigns more, but pre-writtens are, like I said, they're interesting insights into the like game's overall design. Although some of them feel so wacky woohoo out there, you're kind of like, are you even designing for the game you wrote?
No,
but that's a whole other thing.
Absolutely not.
It feels like it sometimes, but you know,
it's fine. You know, you just go in Mad Max and Avernus, and you're just like,
yeah.
I know this is supposed to be part of this. However, vehicle combat is not fleshed out enough for us to really do vehicle combat here.
Well, they also just didn't really. I mean, with Avernus specifically, it didn't feel like they went. Didn't feel like they quite went the extra mile they needed to make the vehicle stuff really gel well.
No, I mean, they really should have just rewritten the vehicle combat rules because, I mean, base game, you don't have the hell machines, so like you don't have all these weapons. However, it's definitely lackluster in a lot of ways.
Well, it also just is it feels a little tacked on's maybe a little extreme, but it's a little, it's a little bare bones, like a first draft almost kind of thing.
No, I know what you mean.
And not as integrated. Yeah, it's not as integrated into the campaign as I was assuming it was gonna be, which I think is probably the weirdest part of the whole thing.
The big thing about that is I didn't roll a lot of the like encounters that you can do on vehicles.
Yeah.
Mostly because vehicle combat is pretty bad. And
so you just like picked from the tables?
Yeah, I just kind of picked. Like,
okay. Hey.
It kind of ends up being who can shoot the driver first.
Right.
Or who can teleport over, kick them out of their vehicle, and then do the thing. It's just kind of whatever. That being said, Matt, this is more towards you and myself. Do you find running it fun? Because I feel many ways about running pre-written adventures.
So I guess it depends, because like I've only technically out of like, besides my fucking giant ass homebrew game, I would do the thing where I would read like a new adventure or read a module that would come out. I'd rip a bit of it, throw it in my homebrew game. So technically I've run chunks of a lot of the 5e modules, but not the full things. And the only one I've run fully was White Plume Mountain with you guys, which is technically like, it's a mini adventure. It's not like a full
anthology.
It's not a campaign.
Yeah, it's not a campaign. Yeah. And at least with like what I've used, I would change a couple of things, but I enjoyed using whatever, because again, my whole thing, steal, reskin, add your own twist to everything. Like, it's been pretty fine. I feel like, again, like my biggest problem right now is with my next campaign is the whole like Strixhaven adventure and then going into Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which reading Mad Mage, it's literally like, wow, a whole dungeon, multiple dungeons, all ready to go. Thanks. Then I look at fucking Strixhaven and I'm like, wow, look at all this nonsense I have to like fix and do. It's like not even bare bones. It's like nothing is here. They gave me the piece of paper for the blueprint without giving me the the drawings of how the blueprint should go.
Matt,
Go on, Matt. Keep going.
Matt,
Keep going. Go off,
no.
King.
your negativity on Strixhaven really
Well,
it just sounds like the kind of shit I say. It's very funny.
Well, it's just the adventure itself. Like, I love the idea of Strixhaven,
No, I
and
know what
if
you
it
mean.
was just like Ravnica and Theros, where it was, here's a setting book with a little adventure in here, I'd be happy. But instead,
I know.
it's the opposite, and it's like what the actual, like there are.
It's a
honestly,
good. You having a
people-
good bitching tirade. It's good. I like.
Yeah, well, people go look up on YouTube. There's tons of videos of people talking about this adventure and like the adventures in Strixhaven, which is why I'm heavily changing things. I'm swapping out a ton of adventures. I'm gonna be using other like books. Like hell, I'm gonna be using some stuff from a Pathfinder adventure called Strength of 1,000, which is like their version of a magical school. So I have to use so many outside material to make Strixhaven work, and that defeats the purpose of buying an adventure module campaign, and where it's like, I just want to read this, and everything's like all set up and ready to go. I can just run it. Whereas with Strixhaven, and I don't know. I don't know any of the other 5e, at least for me, like, again, 5e campaigns, the one-shots. Because even when I did the Curse of Strahd one-shot, the Strahd Must Die Tonight, there was a lot of prep, but it was mostly just, like, setting up Castle Ravenloft, because it's goddamn gigantic. But, I don't know, I think overall, like, I've had more positive than negative experiences when it comes to pre-written adventures.
Okay. I mean, I've done my little tirade about like some of the weird stuff in Strahd. That being said, I definitely find pre-written adventures to be something that is both fun and tiring, because there's a point where you're like, did I read this already? How much of this have I already done prep for? And then you look at it and you go, okay. And like sometimes it just takes a quick read over so that you're like, okay, I remember. I remember how to run this part. I remember everything that's here, the loot, the monsters, how NPCs are going to react. But sometimes there's like, you look at a book and you go, oh, specifically like with the Silver Dragon Skull, like I don't remember anything about this. What happened here? And then you sit there and like, you could stare at the book and be like, players, I need a minute because I don't, give me a second. Or you make up an excuse, like you're gonna go check the deep notes or something.
The deep notes.
No, don't do that. No.
What do you mean?
Notes.
What do you mean? What's wrong?
I know what you're referencing.
Did
What are you talking about?
Did I poke a button?
What do you?
What's going
What do you
on?
mean, Matt?
Never mind. Anyways.
Nobody's
It's like-
referencing anything.
Nope.
What are you talking about?
Sam is purposely referencing
What?
something.
No.
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 Never do something like that.
Motherfuckers.
Might you even say it was 17.8% of a reference?
Oh my god, I can't believe you just fucking said it.
No, I wouldn't say that. But thank you for being Gaslight Yagami here for me.
Oh my
know.
fucking lord.
I try. Anyway.
So, anyways, I do. You said that like, and this is more like I guess a warning for DMs. They are good ways to get something started. They are not terrible. They're not great some of the times. I definitely found Strahd to be way more enjoyable than Avernus, I'll be honest. Avernus was 100% the characters that I enjoyed there and not the actual campaign.
Oh, I
Because,
feel like
Even.
I
Sorry.
feel like I had more fun with Avernus.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's crazy because I thought Avernus was great. I was very frustrated with Strahd at times.
Yeah, so running it for me was not terrible because I realized, and I'm gonna be honest, I feel like the frustration you guys had with Strahd was actually because I did not have experience running pre-written adventures, so I did less prep in areas where I should have done more, and I did more prep in areas where I should have done less. I feel like if I reran Strahd, y'all would have a lot more fun, because I would do a lot more to make that campaign interesting and explore different aspects of it, especially because I know the campaign now. Avernus itself...
More Strahd so we can touch his butt.
Hell yeah, brother.
Avernus, I did what I do now for travel, which is cut the bullshit, because honestly, I fucking hate travel in D&D, and I kind of hate it in other games too, because it's such... It feels like a chore a lot of the time, especially when you're the DM and you're like, all right, I need you to roll this again. Okay, I need you to roll this again. Okay, I need you to roll this again. Okay, we're sleeping now. Oh, there's an ambush. Or not. Or there is. And like, it gets to this point where it's like, is this fun? Is this interesting? And a lot of the time it's not. I would rather have travel be a chance for the players to role play things out and talk and just kind of explore the relationships with the characters, rather than be like, and we're fighting all the time, because in all honesty, why would you be?
Right. Well, that's
It's very
what, like,
interesting, because
go for it.
I know, like, I have a lot of travel in my game, and I pretty much agree. Like, I don't like doing it. I don't know how to make it more interesting, because I don't know if my players find it interesting. They've never really spoken about it to me. But I always feel like it just blows, and I often struggle to like try to seem interested in it. But yeah, no, I feel that. I feel the pain with travel. I don't even think I would know how to start to make travel interesting past like low medium level, right? Because the first levels 1 to 4, or let's say even 1 to 5, travel can be fun because there's like some threat and like getting ambushed by kobolds or like getting like a little side quest. But it gets to a point where you hit like level like 8 through like 14, where you're like, basically whenever you have the chance to get like teleportation and or instantaneous movement, where you're like, every time you have to travel after that, you're like, fuck, god damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like the travel stuff in Avernus is definitely more interesting, because you can get a vehicle that is very unique, because it's not a horse and carriage or a cart with, you know, a animal of burden. So like, you don't have this weird, you don't have the downtime where you're traveling and you're like, oh, I can be ambushed. It's like, no, I am the ambush. This is a moving ambush. So it definitely is more interesting in Avernus to travel, because like Strahd is like, so every 6 hours you can, every 6 hours you can run into an encounter and you roll on the table, but you can only get one encounter every 12 hours, and your players move at this rate and can travel this many miles in a day. And it's like, it's so specific that I'm like, I don't even hate this. Just tell me tile numbers. Don't even give me like miles, because it was like, every time you guys were like, okay, we're going to travel to this place, I had to sit there and be like, all right, they'll get to this place before they get to an encounter, and they'll do this and they'll do that, and this will happen. And like at a certain point, I was just like, I'm just going to choose the encounters that happen so that they get like whatever plot hook, or they have this thing happen to them or whatever. So
it's actually, it's pretty interesting now that I think about it, because Avernus feels like it's 5Eing you. Like, I don't know how else to put it, when the game literally says like, well, the map is sort of like, Avernus is kind of transient. It takes however long it needs to take. Sometimes it can be quicker, sometimes it can be lower. Yeah, I thought that was really funny, and I thought that was cool when you had first said it to us in character. And then I thought about it and was just like, Is this an excuse to let the DM do more or less encounters based on like their preparedness? This is, isn't it? Fuck.
Yeah. Pretty much. And like and not even like preparedness either. It could literally be, well, I don't want to run this game for 50 sessions because we're traveling for 3 weeks at a time. So I'm just not going to do it. You know, it takes a couple days. Oh, this time it took a couple hours. Like, if the final rush, and I say rush because you guys like it was literally a battle happening and you guys needed to make it there. If that that drive was longer than a couple hours, it would have killed the tension too. So like there's a lot of that, because like getting from the scab to the location of the final battle is like, that's another thing. I don't even think that was actually listed, but I think I had decided from the beginning that it would be in Elturel or under Elturel. My point being, though, is like if that trip had taken longer, you know, it would have just been like, okay, so why? Like they're in a stalemate. They've been in a battle for a day and a half, and they're still in this stalemate. Like, it would have just changed the whole perception of the entire encounter. But yeah, so I think
it's been 3 days and nobody's killed each other.
Yeah, no one's damaged. What's going on?
Nobody has any wounds.
Yeah.
Just sort of slapping each other repeatedly.
Well,
Like,
you know what's
the
funny?
game can do stuff for that, but it's just like, you know.
I agree that it would have killed the momentum, but if there was ever a place where you could just see 3 days of war and literally nothing changed, I feel like it would be hell, right? Like,
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree, but it definitely would have just been like, because the thing is that Zariel is taking part in the battle, so you're like, well, why wouldn't it
Why
have
isn't she
any
just
change?
dunking on everyone?
Yeah. Like, she's supposed to be the lord of this plane. Why isn't she, you know, kicking ass and taking names? Why is it a stalemate, you know? So it definitely would have just been like, excuse me? Yeah. So like, I feel like the difference, other than experience doing the pre-written and just running adventures in general, I feel like Strahd was definitely bogged down by travel and having things just kind of happen in a way that's like, okay, all right, how does this pertain to my characters again? And then Avernus was definitely better because we had not just one, but two characters very connected to Hell, and then one character connected to one of the antagonists that I placed in there. So like, it definitely helped that there was more of a connection there than with Strahd. Like, it's definitely one of those things where the bits and pieces for both campaigns were not equivalent at all. I enjoyed running both of them. I definitely enjoyed running Strahd more, and I feel like that's more because the setting, and Avernus had some weird stuff that I'm not going to go into because I have a feeling we're going to do a whole other episode on that alone, because Avernus was a time.
Plus now with like the Van Richten's guide like out, and there's so much material you can use to like.
Oh yeah, there's so much more that Strahd can do.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, and then like just like revamping, and then I know I made the joke of like, oh, just take Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil and just switch her out for Strahd. There you go.
oh, yeah.
Whole new campaign, baby.
The answer is no.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Damn
what?
it.
Come on.
And like,
No.
but like as the series with the Van Richten's guide and like all the new material they added for like traveling through the mist and all the different realms, and like it could be a thing where like the DM's like, man, I know we're in Curse of Strahd, but I'm just like really bored right now of Barovia. Let's just go to a new place. Oh, this one's like Egypt. Yeah, we'll hang around here for a session or two. I don't give a fuck. So it definitely could like
Planes
breathe new life into it.
Become a magic character, start planes hopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't allow a mystic into your campaign that completely disassembles entire encounters.
I regret nothing.
Yeah.
Except I do. A lot. I just don't regret Luca. I
I
love
don't.
him.
I don't dislike Luca. However, when
The class is trash. No, I'm kidding.
no, but when Luca became problematic when he started being able to fly and use telekinesis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You mean
I'm
when I started getting free damage?
Yes, like it became an issue. And now there were some things in that campaign where we were like, yeah, no, this is fine. But like, yeah, no, when you completely disassembled the encounters, I was like, yeah, we're gonna need to not have that happen.
Yeah, I feel like I would want to retry. If we did Strahd again, I feel like we should redux it, like soft reboot it with the same characters. And I would probably see a part of me.
What would you make Luca?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. A part of me wants to be kind and like just make him an aberrant mind and see if Sam would let me fuck around with that UA psionic wizard. Or honestly, probably do Psy Warrior because Luca had some levels of fighter as well. But a part of me kind of wants to try the MCDM psionic, the talent, just for the memes, just so we can have another 20-page character, a stat block or a class sheet, just to be like, okay, hold on, let me in page 20, paragraph 4, subsection B, it says here that my ability does this, just so we can have that again, because those are always the funniest moments when Sam would be like, Luca, how the fuck does your ability work again? I'm just like, hold on, referencing now. Like, there was so much stuff in the Mystic character sheet that I literally couldn't write it all down, or I just didn't want to, so I just had the sheet open constantly. And then that website went down, and I panicked for about a good 3 weeks.
You didn't get the PDF for free? It's on. I think it's on DM's. I think it's still probably on DM's Guild.
So to be fair, I think we did Strahd. I had only been playing. I only been playing RPGs at that point for about a year and a half. 2 years. So I didn't know that GM's Guild was even a thing.
It wasn't on GM's Guild. It was in Unearthed Arcana.
Well, the Mystic Psionic class. Well, there was Unearthed Arcana, but it was also they posted it on the DM's Guild to download if you want to get it from there. Or
the thing Isaiah was using was the PDF from the Unearthed Arcana.
Let's put it this way: I was using the if anyone I brought this up in an earlier episode, but if anyone remembers the 5e wiki. It was the orange website. It was the orange wiki.
Oh dear Lord, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, you remember. That was like my baby for like the longest time. And then that whole site went down and I just didn't know what to do with myself. And like, I probably should have just done a little bit more research. I probably would have found it again, but it was like soul shattering when it went down. Oh God. It was laid out in a different way. So when I opened up the PDF, I couldn't find anything because I did eventually find the PDF. I should say that I did find it eventually, but yeah, no, it was a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah.
Either Aberrant Mind Psionic or Psy Warrior, or I'll try Talent again if Sam allows it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll allow it, but we're gonna have to have a talk. We're gonna have to sit down and have a conversation.
It's fair.
I mean, I have better faith in MCDM designing a better class for that particular vibe. Mostly because Colville's been talking about it for a while, and like they're very good about checking and rechecking and. The good design team there. That being said, the document that's currently out is still the beta version. It is not done yet, so there is that too. It could have some really fucked up broken nonsense, so it may be like a, maybe wait till it comes out situation, but I think it'll probably be pretty good once it does come out.
Yeah.
But also, maybe Luke is just an aberrant mind sorcerer.
Yeah,
maybe.
Perhaps. I can see Luca being a lot of things, honestly.
I'm making it work pretty well with Haven.
You are, yeah, and like especially if you use the points, it will just sort of feel like playing Luca anyway. So, yeah, it's definitely a thought. If I did do sorcerer, I would just be like, I'm also going to use the skill points. Fuck it. Because
Spell points, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. All right. Anybody who isn't using the mana system or doesn't know that 5e has like a cool mana system,
It's not called that.
I don't care.
It's called spell points.
It's called
Not
spell
everyone.
points.
Not everyone knows what mana is, Isaiah.
Mana is the blue juice.
Anytime you ever played a game like Bioshock or shit like that, and you got the blue bar or like
It's
Elden
not called
Ring,
mana in Bioshock either.
yeah, but that's what it is though. It's a mana bar. If you don't think it's a mana bar, you're playing yourself.
Okay, if you're looking for it in the DMG, it's called spell points.
Yes.
If you try and do Control F and type in mana, you're not gonna get anything.
Sure, but henceforth I will be calling it the mana system because I know that better.
God.
Anyway, if you don't use it and you've never heard of it, try it. It's in the DMG. It's really cool. Basically, the way it works is that you, as opposed to having spell slots, you have like a pool of points that you can use to like to basically pay for your abilities, right?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It's not. Okay.
Yes.
That's Isaiah is the one who's using it right now.
As someone who's used it in the past, I understand.
Okay.
But yeah, you basically use it to cash in as opposed to burning spell slots. And the cool thing about the spell points or mana, whatever the hell, is that you basically get more to use, but you can very easily screw yourself if you're not paying attention. Like, you can burn all your points on a bunch of low-level abilities, and you would theoretically get more low-level abilities than you would be with just straight-up spell slots. But if you burn all your points on big stuff, then you're just going to be screwed.
Hold, it only works for spells, not
Yes.
abilities.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Because there's there's a mechanical distinction in 5e. That's why I'm like, it only works for spell slots. What you do is you spend a number of points. Technically, the way it works is you spend a number of points, and then you turn those points into a spell slot, and then you burn the spell slot.
Yes.
That is the beginning to end of it.
Sounds like spellcasting with extra steps.
It is, but it's fun.
The idea is you have more fluid options with how you do it, because you're not locked into the normal ammo count of spell slots.
But yeah, it's really fun. I would just recommend giving it a try. And it's a good way to spice up spellcasters if you're feeling like spell slots are getting kind of boring, because I've played quite a few casters, and very early on I was like, this is getting kind of samey. I'm not really vibing with this. Like, the subclasses and classes make it interesting, but at the end of the day, you're still using basically the same mechanic. So yeah, spell points, mana, whatever the hell you want to call it. Good way of making things interesting.
I don't think it's that exciting. It's okay. I'm considering going back to normal spell slots, though, to be honest.
Seriously?
Oh, shit.
It's not different enough. It changes. So on Sorcerer, it's more interesting because you can take your sorcery points and the spell points pool and smash them into one. So it's a little more interesting on Sorcerer because you do this thing where you're like, oh, I'm going to cast the spell and I'm going to use my heightened spell ability. So I'm going to dump 10 spell points all in this big spell. So it's kind of fun in that regard, but for the most part, it doesn't feel that different than just using spell slots for me. And I've run into a couple of points along the way where, because this is an optional rule, there's a couple of points that I've looked at where I've been like, oh, how do I make this work for the spell point thing? And none of them have been massive hurdles, but there has been a couple of times where I'm like, wait, is this not going to work with the spell points? Do I need to reconfigure this? How do I,
Do you have any examples?
So the Sorcerer, the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, gets the ability, what's it called? Psionic Casting, I think is what it's called. Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick before I start.
I was going to say, we also tangent way harder into next week's topic.
Psionic Sorcery. When you cast a spell of first level or higher from your Psionic spell feature, you can cast it by expending a spell slot as normal, or by spending a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level. But the problem is, because I'm using my spell point and sorcery pool combined, there's no difference between those two things. So I initially had to look at it and be like, wait, can I just like not use this ability? I still can. I had to rewire it a little bit in my brain. There was also the Pearl of Power. I had to like, again, it wasn't a huge deal, but I did have to think about, all right, how's the Pearl of Power gonna give me spell points? Because it's designed for spell slots. But anyway, it's fine. It's an interesting idea. It's a holdover from Sorcerer in the beta test, because originally sorcerers didn't have spell slots. They used spell points for everything. So that's where it came from, and it is kind of fun to use in Sorcerer, but I don't know if it's different enough that it like makes it feel like a new thing, really. So, yeah. That has nothing to do with pre-written adventures.
Absolutely not. No, I was just waiting for you to finish.
Yeah, we went down the rabbit hole on it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that another time. That being said, I mean, Luca can be Luca. If you really want to be Luca again, go for it whenever that campaign comes back. Because I do feel like I didn't do Strahd justice. I feel like it could have been better in a lot of ways. So,
I can't wait to play Meralt of Mivia.
I was gonna say, if we do redux it, are you gonna play Adrian, and are you gonna which character would you be playing, Josh?
If Matt played Adrian, I might play Valente. If not, I probably would play Claw. Probably.
Are we still fucking up Matt's character's name?
I'm doing it on purpose at this point, because it is
now I'm
Aridin.
gaslighting. Okay, all right, I was gaslighting myself. Okay, all right. I was being the gaslight. You got me.
Yep.
All right, so I don't know how many times I've talked about this, but I literally couldn't get Matt's character's name right, and it became a joke that we ran into a character with the name
Adrian.
that I called him Adrian, and I was like, I'm gonna make a joke about this, and he's gonna be like, no, you can keep the name. I will be called Aridin. That's character's actual name.
I think, Matt, you should rename the character to Eric.
Eric.
Oh,
Just
God,
Eric.
Jesus.
No.
Oh,
Eric
man, I can't wait for
Arivia.
you guys to meet the illustrious Stefan Buscemi again.
The illustrious Stefan
Oh my
Buscemi.
God.
Yeah.
That campaign went down some holes.
Yeah, so the question is are we just gonna be fucked for old Bone Grinder if we don't get another bag of holding?
Smile. Guess who's not getting a bag of holding this time?
Hey, here's a good little cross promo. If you want to hear the story of what happened to us in Old Bone Grinder, if you go on our YouTube, I have a clip. It's called The Legend of the Baggening.
All right, gonna have to play an artificer then.
Go watch that.
Bag of holding banned item.
Damn, I can't believe you've done this.
I mean, I would probably actually just make it that any magical items that you brought over actually, like, they just lose their magic or something until a certain point.
LOL.
Perform a ritual or something.
Oh, that would be so sick. Wait, would that
Because
just
it's
fuck over
Strahd's domain.
artificers then?
Absolutely. Don't play an
Damn,
artificer. Smile.
Rude. Absolutely
I mean-
rude.
There's no science in Barovia. We don't believe in that here.
We don't believe in science.
Strahd is actually like the biggest boomer there ever was.
Nice.
Oh my God.
Alchemicals. In my Barovia? Get the fuck out of here.
I just imagine him doing the fucking the Johnny Depp in Dark Shadows, where it's like on the TV, rips the TV back off. Where are you, tiny songstress?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, that'd
God.
be pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah. But,
Can we try? No, I can't stop thinking about Strahd having all of this modern day technology in his cat. He's Dracula from fucking Castlevania, but he doesn't understand any of it. He's just like
Yeah,
why do you
write
have all
that
this
down, write
shit
that
with the
down.
last guy who was leasing the castle? He had all of this stuff here.
His name was Vad, Bad, Galad, something like that. Tepez, something like that.
TPs.
TPs, yeah, TPs or something.
oh dear lord.
Oh God, this has gotten really cursed. But
I mean,
Strahd and Vlad Tepesh are just like weird drinking buddies.
No, all right, I've said this before. I don't think I've said this on the podcast, but I preferred Sam's version of Strahd to any iteration of Strahd I think I've ever seen, which is like, for anybody, like, yeah. So we, throughout the campaign, whenever we would run into Strahd, he was like this super imposing, he was just Dracula, right? Like he had the whole Dracula thing going. And then when we had done all the work and we had leveled all the way up and everything, we were ready. And I bought 37 vials of holy water to start using like grenades.
Prep y'all did was just ridiculous.
And then we get to the castle and he comes out and looks at us over the fucking ramparts and he's like, all right, hey, come in, it's dinner time. And we're like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm hungry. Do you want a bite to eat? My butler's almost done cooking.
Y'all want some McDonald's? Or?
Yeah, he's like, y'all want some McDonald's? I've got some food. So we go in, and Strahd is like, all right, I'm gonna level with you guys. So we can do this whole song or dance where I do the whole dungeon and you guys got to come find me in the labyrinth. And I'm going to be real. Most of you are going to die and you might kill me, but you know that this is going to just repeat and some other schlubs are going to get pulled into this. So here's a proposition. Help me commit sewer slide. And we're like, what? This is a bit. Are you lulling us to a false sense of security so you can drink our blood? And he's like, no, I am so fucking depressed and I'm tired of this bullshit. Let me die. And we're just like, okay. And he's like, all right, cool. Are we best friends now? And we're like,
do we work for Strahd now?
Yeah.
Are we the baddies?
Strahd basically just became like this depressed, like, did you figure out a way to kill me yet? No, then fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't think we stopped laughing from the start to the end of that session.
No. So like the worst part is that when you read Strahd like now and you read into his personality and why he does everything, he's literally like one of the most petty incels.
He's a
ever.
simp. He's a mega giga.
He's not even a simp. He's an incel because he got mad that his brother got the poom that he wanted, and that's why all of this started. He literally became a vampire because his brother had the person he wanted to marry
because he walked up and said, "Becky, let me smash,"
and Becky said, "I'm married." No, yeah, pretty much. So like, it's real bad, and it's like. Yeah,
God.
Having Strahd become more depressed and less vengeful, he actually regrets everything that he's done and just kind of wants to die because, you know, everybody's trapped in this endless reincarnation cycle, and he just sits there and watches his brother, his wannabe lover, die over and over and over and over again, and like every time he's like, I want to kidnap her and make her mine, and then she dies anyways, like no matter what the result is, and he just lives that forever. So it's very, I would become depressed. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm a Strahd level incel. I'm not even an incel.
We should have asked Strahd on that last session, like, why do you keep kidnapping her? What is the deal with that? That's kind of weird. You know that, right? Like, Sam, what do you think your version of Strahd's response would have been? I gotta ask.
I don't know how to talk to ladies.
My only way to talk to ladies is kidnapping.
No, I feel like after a certain point, it would have just been like, at first it was to have her close by because, there's this obsessive quality to Strahd. And then over time, I feel like it would have just become desperation to just see her one more time. And talk to her and like feel her presence, even though it's not even the same person anymore. Just, so, and this is more of a grief thing. So like when you lose someone, a lot of the time people have regrets and they're like, I wish I could have said this to them before they passed, or I wish I could have talked to them more, or this. Strahd literally living for an eternity and watching the person reincarnate and seeing them look exactly the same every time, but not being the same person, that would be torture.
Yeah, be pretty bad.
So
Wasn't that the price he paid for the powers from the Dark Powers? Was like, you have to, like, you get to rule this land, be a cool vampire and all this nonsense. However, you're going to have to watch this eternally happen to you. As your
the
punishment.
price was that he couldn't die. That being said, souls can be released from Barovia, albeit in weird ways. Like, specifically, the soul of his brother will come and take the woman, I'm forgetting her name now.
Tatiana.
Reincarnation. There are
was-
two of them.
Oh.
The woman specifically, that is the reincarnation, will take her and literally leave Barovia. Like, they're gone. They're not there anymore. Her soul is no longer there. It is returned to where it should have been all this time. And like, you know what's really, and I don't think I actually talked about this, but there are a lot of people in Barovia that are literally just creations of Strahd's. Like,
Yes, I did know that.
like they're just his creation. They don't have a soul. They're not like they're not a person in the conventional sense. They're like basically an automaton.
Who are you, buddy? I'm Strahd's left toenail. Oh,
I mean, not like that. They had names, but like they were literally like.
my name's
born.
Steve, made from Strahd's left toenail.
Yeah, so like Strahd itself has some very cool lore things that you can do a lot with, and that's part of why I like pre-written adventures, is that they give you this lore and this story that happens in, I mean, mostly the Forgotten Realms, but you know, they could take place in other planes and in other universes, etc. And it lets you explore this. And if you, the DM, are really interested in it, you can go in it and you can be like, oh, how would this character become this way? Like, what would they do with all of this? Because you get kind of a snippet of information on the personality and the history of a character, and like you can really go somewhere with it. Like, oh no, I forgot his name. Your companion.
Bismarck.
Thank you, Ismark. I was like, it starts with an I, and it's not Ivan.
Bismarck from the famed series Final Fantasy.
No, Ismark. So like, Ismark is cognizant. He has a soul. He is completely aware of the atrocities that Strahd is committing. And it's like, how would he react to this? And I remember a very early interaction between him and Luca is him saying that they were like slaves. And Luca, having previously been a slave, didn't react very kindly to this, because it's like, because you're both in this, you know, one is be like you're trapped forever, you're oppressed because all the monsters of the night are there, Strahd's doing nothing, people are dying left, right, and center. Meanwhile, and it's kind of like slavery away, and then Luca was a literal slave. So like there's these two different perspectives and they clashed. And that's because partially because I wanted that clash, but also I wanted the players to understand that the people here are not happy at all. Like, sure, they're the ones that don't have a soul, they're kind of lifeless in a way. But like most of the people here are not happy, and they never will be, because this place is oppressive and it's horrible, and you know, you can use this lore to do things. You don't have to have every interaction be perfect, you know, that's impossible. But like pre-written adventures give you material that if you're really interested in it, you can do a lot with it. So, you know, that's kind of a tip, I guess. I don't really have a whole lot more on that, because like pre-written adventures are interesting to run. If you've never run a game before, they're definitely helpful, because you kind of get an understanding of what to do where, how to build encounters, how to build dungeons, what makes things interesting. So, you know, it's fun.
They're a very good jumping off point, especially for new DMs who You know, like you want to run like, oh, I want to run my own campaign, but I have literally the blank, empty white sheet.
Better jump off these nuts.
Got him.
What? Oh my god.
Sorry, what?
Someone killed this man. Someone get him.
Okay, please.
Okay, get into Mount Fuji. Get in the catapult.
Please.
I mean,
Yep,
the trebuchet.
yep.
I don't know. I
It
just
is the
hadn't said it.
superior
I
siege
hadn't
weapon.
said anything, and Matt said jumping off, and I was like, well, I got, you know.
But yeah, I think honestly, just to, like, I guess kind of ignore Josh and go back to what I was trying to say.
Ignore me, I'm a delight.
Most pre-written adventures are, like, as even for like newer DMs, experienced DMs, they're very easy. Like, they can be flexible and homebrewed enough to fit whatever you want as a dungeon master and to fit your players. So they is like basically, you know, a really good jumping off point. The one thing that, because I've asked a bunch of people who have played in other pre-written adventures, like before this episode, one of the big things that a lot of them wish were in newer books, and I think they started doing this recently, is they wish that, kind of like in 4E, they want guidance for monster tactics, like how do certain monsters work? Because like for a new DM, you might not know. You're like, oh, what does a goblin do? Fuck, what are Lord of the Rings? What do they do? They ate hobbits? Ah, shit, man, I don't know what does that mean?
They ate.
So like,
It's back on the menu, boys.
back on the menu, boys.
so
God,
like
I
it's
can
not.
only-
It doesn't help you be like, all right, well, goblins, they're very dexterous, so they can sneak attack and all this jazz.
Now
And it's
I
like,
just
no.
have man flesh in my brain. Man flesh.
Man, flesh. God, boss.
God damn it. Man flesh.
I'm like creaking the shit out of my chair. Brett's gonna have a field day with me.
I feel nothing but pain
So that's
today.
the only thing I think I would ask of more pre-rented adventures would be, maybe some monster tactics just for
I mean,
newer players.
I'll be honest. I feel like the monster tactics should just be in.
In the monster
Monster
stat
manual.
blocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
in
like,
5.5E enhanced turbo.
Hold on,
whatever,
I got
Josh
you, man. I
edition.
got you. 5.5E Turbo Remax Alpha Plus Third Strike Edition.
Yeah, they'll probably
man.
be in that book. The monster.
So, okay, here's the question. Is it possible to RKO Josh into Fuji and then halfway around do to him what Ultraman does to that guy in the new series? Just fucking puts him in the double suplex and then surfs him like a surfboard? Is that, can we do?
Why are you
What?
being so mean to me right now?
What? I have not seen this clip. What?
something about these nuts.
And just every time you do the fucking,
5.5E Redux Alpha Max Plus Unlimited Omega Edition?
yeah, that one was different than the last one.
I mean, it's
no,
different
every
every time.
single one of them has been different.
That's just as bad as like Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, the ultimate, what is it? The ultimate Ultimax Super Suplex Hold Edition?
Something, yeah.
Yeah, Persona 4 Arena, the ultimate
that is the joke,
Ultimax
yes.
Super Suplex Edition. Yeah.
Yes, that is where I'm getting the joke from, correct. Yep.
Oh my god, it's just every time you my rage comes from every time Matt says 5.5 and you're like, no, Matt, again.
That's the bit.
How many times you gotta teach you this lesson, old man?
Somebody out there on the internet, a brave hero out there on the internet, compile every time I've said it and put it to the new Street Fighter 6 main theme.
That brave
Please.
hero's our editor.
I don't care
Thanks,
who the
Brett.
brave hero
Love you.
is. Somebody.
I don't get paid enough or at all for this.
Anyway, like, I don't know, Pre-Written Adventure, Zariel's cool. Bald-headed chicken lady, she's kind of hot.
Yeah, with them
Put that
chicken
on a
feet
shirt.
though.
Bald-headed chicken lady on the back, she's hot. I'm so down for that.
I said kinda.
Did you say kinda? I didn't hear
No.
kinda out of you.
No.
All I heard
I
was
said
she's
kinda.
hot.
Yeah, no, I heard she's hot. He didn't even like follow it up with a literally. He just said hot, so like, you know, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not going to disagree with you. God damn you, fire alarm. I'm so sorry, Brett.
We can't hear it, so you're probably
We
right.
can't hear it, but remember, Discord doesn't hear it.
My mic definitely picked that up. I just saw it. Oh,
Anyway,
no.
I'm a go somewhere else. Sam, continue.
Oh, okay, all right. So like back on the new DMs thing, I also think that pre-written adventures can be good for newer players. Although I feel like, and this is where that extra work for the DM comes in. I feel like there should be a little bit of extra work that the DM does to make the campaign a little bit more accessible for the newer players, because otherwise you're going to run into a situation where both parties don't know what they're doing.
You mean where Shambling Mounds one shot you?
I mean, that was hilarious. Let's be real.
I do
I
feel
sat
like
there and I was like, I knew this was going to happen, and I'm glad that it did.
I do feel like pre-writtens, a lot of them, with the exceptions of the ones that are specifically advertised as, intro, like Lost Mine of Phandelver.
Yeah.
I do feel like a lot of the pre-writtens are not designed with a new player in mind. Like, they expect you to have a certain amount of knowledge.
Which is why I said, they're good if the DM does a little bit of extra work to make it more accessible, because like you said, like there are some that are specifically stated to be intros.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of them kind of assume there's certain things like it almost seems like they have a certain amount of meta knowledge written into them, which is maybe not the most new player friendly thing. But yeah, I don't know. That's a thought I had. I have no follow-up.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else want to jump on the new players playing in the pre-written adventure discussion? Throw an idea in that.
No, I think I'm good on that one.
Matt?
What? Isaiah, why'd you? Oh.
Yeah.
No, I always feel bad like leaving it in awkward silence, so I just prefer to respond and just say it.
I know, but you said it in such a fashion like there's some sort of baggage you didn't want to go into.
No, it was just more of like I was trying to think like, do I have something? And like, I mean, if I do, I'll just think about it later and bring it up. But
fair enough.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, literally Lost Mines and what's the other one that just came out? The starter.
You think so? What?
Like they're good for newer players. So there's the Essentials kit. That's the other thing I was thinking of. The Dragons of Ice Fire
Dragon
Peak.
of Ice Fire Peak.
Yeah, I think those are two very good like starter adventures. And if anything too, they also they come with pre-generated characters. So if you really want to like teach somebody the game, you could always just have them use a pre-gen, and then swap characters or change it or do whatever. And hell, Wizards of the Coast, they're coming out with another starter kit this year. So, they want to keep teaching new people D&D to get into it.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they are definitely good for players to kind of experiment with things, because they're not worried about like ruining a DM's expectations. Because I always bring up my Monday game. My Monday game has people who have only ever played Lost Mines of Phandelver, or one of them has played more, but it's been years, and it was like 3rd edition or 3.5. And it's very much so like they're still trying to feel things out, but them having that experience with Lost Mines has definitely made it so that they're like, all right, so I'm more wondering what's going on with my class more than like the mechanics of the game or figuring out how to do things, because they have this experience with Lost Mines and they're not worried about derailing things as much anymore. They still get worried about it because they're like, is it all right if we do this? And I'm like, I literally told you I do not care. You can do whatever you want. The last time we played, oh, sorry, not the last time we played. The second to last session that we had, they found a town that was like extremely poor, and they were like, I don't even remember how this started, but they were like, hey, they felt really bad about the state of the town, and they were like, we want to give them money, but we don't want to just give it to them outright. So they held a contest, and it was a dabbing contest.
That's
nice.
Yeah. So, like, they're like, is this all right? I'm like, I mean, I don't really care. I don't think y'all are ever going to come back here. I don't think anybody's going to come here ever again. So like, you know, this town, I'll write something down and have it influence something like, oh, there are more people traveling here. But like, you know, I'm like, do what you want. You know, I don't know why your character would know what a dab is, but I don't see a reason as to why they wouldn't know what a dab is, because it might just be a cultural thing. Doesn't matter. Make up a reason. Tell me it later, and I'll make it work.
They saw it in a dream.
Yeah, like it literally could be anything, because it's just a silly made up thing. And I feel like if they hadn't done Lost Mines of Phandelver, they just wouldn't have been comfortable playing at all. And like, sure, you can say that, you know, a campaign can be that way for players. It doesn't need to be rewritten. But I definitely feel like newer players having a more structured environment than, hey, here's this homebrew campaign, kind of do whatever you want. I have a plot. I'll drag you into it eventually with a plot hook, whether or not you take the bite or I have to drag you there. Like, you know, a bad comedian in old cartoons with the cane. But, you know, we'll get there. I feel like players definitely want more structure when they start. So that's just how I feel about newer players running, well, not running, but playing in these campaigns. I don't know about DMs 100%. I feel like it's a good starting point, but like, yeah, you shouldn't base everything off of that.
I definitely think newer players prefer a tighter structure when they begin. That seems to be almost a universal thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I guess, I don't know, I guess you just are like, I don't really know what that inclination is, because on one hand, you would think a new player who has no preconceived notions would just go fucking buck wild. But on the other hand, I guess if you don't know what your options are, then you're hesitant to pick them. I'm not really sure. That's kind of a weird thing that I've noticed before. It's an interesting phenomenon, because I have run for new players a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit.
I've done a lot of running for new players.
Yeah,
it's a ton. It really is, because there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of thinking about, you know, how do I even interact with these players, because there are monsters that they look at and they go, I don't even know what that is. That's crazy. What is it doing? Face spiders.
Gibbering mouther.
Oh no, just face spiders. Honestly, if you okay, all right. And I know I've talked about face spiders before, and I love them. They're great. If you really want to fuck with new players, throw in a face spider. Just have it disappear in front of them, and they'll go, I don't know what's happening. Did it teleport? And you just look at them and you shrug.
Sam, I feel you're a tad biased in this.
I mean, there are other creatures that you can use, but so a phase spider, and it has a mechanic that isn't just it hits you,
right? Yeah, no,
and it isn't just poison, and it makes the players think a little bit more than, you know, oh, I just have to hit the thing really hard. And that's what I'm getting at. Like, any creature that does something that is different like that will definitely help your players understand how to play the game a little bit more than just, well, I hit the thing.
Shambling mounds for everybody.
Scream.
100%.
Scream.
I scream. Damn it, I lost it.
We are just real scattered today.
I mean, this is again, you know, this does tie into pre-written adventures, because it helps your players, if they're new, to understand how D&D works and how adventures are kind of structured and how the game is run, you know, without having this extra need to understand how homebrew campaigns work. Because, you know, with a homebrew campaign, they're like, I don't even understand. Like, So I have an uncle that I talk to very frequently, and every time he calls me, he asks questions about D&D, because he just doesn't really put two and two together that the story is told by the group of people. So having to take that portion away and be like, hey, this is pre-written. I haven't written the story. I'm just acting out the parts that aren't you guys acting, might help players understand how the role playing works, because I've had people that have never role played before play in a game, and
I have done that.
Extremely confused on how it works, and like it's okay to not understand how role playing is, and then to come into a game. And I feel like sometimes just having that, like, I don't want to, players that are new will come in and be like, I don't understand how this works. I don't want to screw up the campaign that this person's written for me. There's a whole lot that goes into that mentality. Some of it's subconscious, some of it's conscious. And I've had players literally be like, I don't want to screw up your campaign by me acting goofy. So like, if you don't want me to do this, I won't do it. I'm like, no, go ahead. That's part of the fun. Role-playing your character the way that you want to role-play them. You know, don't be, a dickhead about it, but like, just do what you want to do. It makes it a more enjoyable experience for everyone if you do what you want to do, and you do it within reason, of course. Like, don't start killing player characters because you're upset and your character's upset and they would do that. Please don't do that. Please don't say that that's what my character would do.
That's what my character would do.
The worst fucking saying in all of tabletop.
It's the worst part about it is that sometimes it's like, it's not a bad thing to say, but at the same time, it's like, God, I really wish people would just stop saying it.
It's never brought up in a good context. It's always whenever you have a character who's about to do something, and it's just like something that's gonna irk everybody. It's like, well, that's what my character would do. And it's like, no, that's what you, Jim. That's what you are doing to be an asshole to me. Mm-hmm. So stop it.
I mean,
the Nuremberg defense of tabletop.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather someone, before they do something, just look at the rest of the party and be like, I'm so sorry for what I'm about to do, than say, it's what my character would do.
You mean like when Isaiah nuclear fireballed the entire room filled with the poisonous gas and almost killed everyone? Like that kind of maneuver?
Hell yeah. And I'd do it again.
I mean, there's a lot of context I'm leaving out of there, but yeah, I mean, it was valid in the moment.
Yeah,
it was valid. I don't chagrin you for it.
You know what? I don't even think any of the other players in that game were even mad at me, because I know they also really didn't want to fight that boss. So it was more of like I appreciate you. I appreciate what you did, but don't you ever do that shit again. And the answer was no promises, but I'm gonna try my damnedest.
Yeah,
I will attempt. Attempts were made.
We could also Claw attacking the hags and old bone grinder, being like, I'm sorry, but it's what my character would do. And we're all looking at you in a weird mixture of disbelief, confusion, sadness. We just kind of ran the phases of grief.
All right, that one I will admit, that was just, that was bad call. I will admit
just a little bit.
Yeah.
I will admit to the stupidity on that one.
Little bit. I mean, at least with Matt, he's like, I roll a wisdom to see how stupid this reaction is.
I'm gonna be real though.
Would my character get mad at this, or would they realize that it's a joke? Rolls wisdom. They are very, very mad because they are very, very dumb.
Eridina angry.
Here's the thing though, right? As wacky woohoo as that action was, if you didn't attack those hags, we never would have got the baggening. So
this is true.
All things considered, turned out pretty well.
This is true. Can't argue with the numbers. Hard, cold numbers on paper. Stonks.
Stonks. God bless.
Fuck the baggening.
Yeah. Pre-written adventures have given us some wonderful memories. I will say that. I don't think. I mean, well, even say, I probably would never have interacted with either you, Isaiah, or Matt if it weren't for Strahd.
True. Also true.
So
yeah.
No, that's just a D&D thing, but also.
Right.
I brought us all together like a gaggle of idiots.
Oh, God. Like a gaggle of idiots. Have you listened to this podcast?
We are a gaggle.
I brought us all together and formed a gaggle of idiots.
There you go.
Shape of a bucket of water.
What?
He's doing the Wonder Twins thing. Oh,
Yeah,
God,
we
I
can't
just
be
thought about
Wonder.
that.
What? Fuck. What is it when you're 4 twins? What is that called?
Quadruplets?
Quadruplets.
Well, I wonder quadruple. Now we gotta come up with a new title. Quality quadruple. No, I don't like that one.
Get the quality
There ain't no quality to this, bud. That's for fucking sure.
No, the quality is Brett's editing. Let's be real.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh fuck.
Oh,
And it's always
God.
like 2 of them have really cool powers, and 2 of them have really stupid powers, like
Shitty
turning into
powers.
water.
So you trying to do the alliteration reminded me of quintessential quintuplets and how mad I am at that fucking series.
I know nothing about it.
Oh dear lord!
No,
Listen,
we can't.
okay.
Can we not? We can't dive
No,
into
no, no,
anime
no,
right
no,
now.
No. Okay, look. You know how I'm mad about the Calma strat from Domestic Girlfriend?
Oh, don't. No, he did. He brought it up.
Listen. We can go into that another time.
So which anime would be the best pre-written adventure in your D&D campaign?
Bleach.
Wow, my man didn't even fucking hesitate.
Yeah, holy shit.
Damn.
I didn't even finish
I mean,
the sentence.
specifically up to season 3 Saving Rukia situation.
Holy shit, that was great.
I'm not gonna deny your claim. I also feel Inuyasha would be good.
Yeah, that'd be a good one too.
Yeah.
I have no answer to that question. I really don't know. There's too much. Vinland Saga.
Haven't watched it.
God damn.
That's a good idea. I never finished that. This is not. Why are we talking about anime?
Because because Matt said quality quadruplets, and I thought of quintessential
I was gonna
quintuplets.
say, we hit the wrap up
And
10 minutes early.
I just got
a lot of stupid in the
Listen.
stupid juice right now.
Listen, if you haven't watched or read the show, I'm sorry, but it's not great because you're gonna be like, yeah, this is best girl, and then you're gonna be disappointed immediately because you can. As soon as you get to like the 3rd arc, you know how the story is going, and then by the end, you're like, okay, I know what's happening here. I know who wins the day, and I'm not happy about it.
So how about them Yankees?
No Yankees.
It's all about the
only
Mets,
Yankees.
baby.
It's all about the Mets, baby.
All right, we're seriously doing
Let's go get a home run, baby. Love the Mets. Let's go, Mets.
God.
this.
It's
Went
not about the
from
money, Spider-Man.
It's not about the money, Spider-Man.
this went from pre-written adventures to whoa.
It's not about my girlfriend, adventurers.
It's not about Tatiana, Spider-Man.
That's just like Strahd's just Kingpin. You just gotta like Photoshop
I don't.
big square block
I'm writing
of a
this down.
person.
I'm writing this down.
Fanfare fangs.
Yes. Keep going.
It's like, it's a strong. It's not about Tatiana, Spider-Man. It's about depression, baby. Let's go depression. Let's go.
Oh my god. Sam, please get us out of here.
I don't think I can. I think this is. I think this is the end for all of us. We've devolved. We can no longer call ourselves a D&D podcast.
You know, it's fine. Look, it's look, Strahd try,
tabletop.
like Ismark. He tries. He's just a little guy. He's just Ismark. He's just a little guy. He just tries real hard.
Yeah. He tries real hard. What was the other acronym? Table RPG.
Oh yeah, TRPG.
Please don't bring that shit up.
We're no longer a table RPG. We're just an RPG podcast.
Pain, absolute
Pain
pain
in
in
your
my
pecco.
pecco.
Yes. Oh dear lord. Okay.
I mean, do we have any last
Closing remarks.
on pre-rens in general? I guess.
Bookober.
Bookober.
I got a whole lot of nothing, I don't think. Buns in the bud.
Josh, would you say that?
Don't you
cool.
say it. Fuck.
Sometimes. Not always, but sometimes.
Yeah,
Pre-written's cool.
Pre-written cool. I mean,
Sometimes.
some of them are. I
Yeah,
look
some
at
of them
Storm
are,
King's Thunder
exactly.
and go, this would be metal as hell if it was written better.
Actually, you know what? There you
Or
go.
flowed
There's
better.
a thought. There's a thought I just had. if you're gonna run a pre-written adventure, maybe just do a little research ahead of time, little look at a couple of reviews and figure out which one's for you, because the back of the box text may sound really good, like, Mad Max in hell sounds dope, and then you realize there's not a lot of Mad Maxing in your hell, it's just a lot of hell in your hell.
Or you have to do a lot of Mad Maxing to make it Mad Max instead of the game doing
look
it
up a
for
lot
you.
look up some reviews, dive into it a little bit before you pick a pre-written. Don't just believe the synopsis.
Actually, you know what? All right. I did actually have an on-topic thought that I just remembered. I'm wondering what your thoughts are. Just to do this real quickly.
All right. Okay.
Would you prefer if pre-written adventures had a basic and advanced version?
Absolutely. Depending on what you actually mean by that.
What do you mean? Yeah, extrapolate.
Because if like basic is something like, hey, this is just what it is. We have the encounters are designed this way, and then advanced is like the encounters are harder, the puzzles are more, vague.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing. I guess the idea is that it would work the opposite to the way that most people think of a basic and advanced. So like a basic adventure would be, this is here, this does this goes, like, right? It's literally more, it's a little more board gamey. It's a little more what we would want a lot of the time, right? Is just a little more rigidity. But advanced would be like, okay, here is more of a template for your adventure. Implement it how you will, right? It's sort of built in such a way that it's meant to be customized, implemented along with other stories. So you can have things like, in Matt's case, if you did Strixhaven first, this is how you could implement Dungeon of the Mad Mage into Strixhaven, right? And then it would give you all of the stuff that would go along with it. Like there'd be like a whole chapter for that. And it would have a lot more stuff open to interpretation. So I guess it wouldn't be basic and advanced. It would be more like
complex and simple.
Yeah. Or it would be oh god, what's the wording I'm trying to think of? Like
I know what you're
standalone
trying
or conjoined.
To say. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting idea. I don't know. I like the idea of having one version that's more direct and one version that's more open. I think that would be a fun idea. As far as the part where it's like bringing them into other adventures and stuff, I don't know. I'd have to do me a think on that a little bit more.
They kind of already do that, honestly. Like in most
they do a little
adventures,
bit,
they'll have like a paragraph of like, hey, how to connect this campaign with this one.
But I think Isaiah is saying that, but a little more in depth, like designed a little bit more, rather than just like sort of you could do this or that. Like I think Isaiah is saying like tie them together more closely, maybe.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's a thought. I don't know. It's an interesting idea, but I don't know. I'd have to. I guess this is kind of a non-answer, but it's one of those things where it could be cool if done well, but also could be super shit if done messy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt,
That's all.
Did you give closing thoughts? We'd been topic when brain go burr.
Well, I guess to quickly answer Isaiah, kind of also both yes and no. I don't know. I feel like it might like complicate things a little bit and add too much to adventures already if there's two versions of stuff. I don't know. I mean, maybe it could work. I'd have to see it. That's my biggest thing.
It wouldn't be hard to delineate, right? It'd just be the book cut in half. It'd be like, here's the one version, here's the other. So it wouldn't be like, I don't think it would add too much in terms of complication necessarily.
Maybe. I don't know. And then, I guess just final closing thoughts. If you're a new player or new DM, pre-written adventures, whether it's, official Wizard of the Coast stuff, look at Adventure League PDFs on the DM's Guild, honestly.
Absolutely.
A lot of them are literally just like one-shot, 4-hour adventures. Get a little sample. If you like D&D, there you go. you could also look up non-official stuff and stuff from other companies like Cobalt Press or Raging Swan or Sly Flourish. There's literally endless pre-writtens out there you can find and use for your games. And it definitely helps with prep. And again, the Matt method of, pulls out, opens trench coats, a million adventures, but like crossed off the names, Meralt of Mivia. Your players aren't going to know. They're not going to know that you didn't write this.
Meralt of Mivia.
It's fine.
You sure about that, bud?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
You can tell them afterwards, be like, I found this adventure on the DM's Guild, or I did this, whatever.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. Matt endorses lying.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of the best skills a DM can learn. Learn to lie.
I mean, I wouldn't say lie. I would say do improv.
Both.
Who's the one comedian who's like like a liar?
John Mulaney.
Is that John Mulaney? Okay, I didn't know if that was him.
Yeah.
Bless.
Like a
Okay.
liar.
I mean, does anybody else have any closing remarks, advice, tips, tricks? No.
If I did have one, it would be like it would just be, if you're one of those homebrew purists, just give them a look, give them a once over. They might have some interesting ideas. Just take bits and pieces if you want them.
Yeah.
Like it's impossible that it's all shit.
Steal.
It's impossible that it's all shit.
I mean, listen, the concept of Storm King's Thunder is great. Some of it's not.
And let me specify, I don't think most of it is shit. I think most of it is pretty decent, but there are definitely some people out there where it's like, no, pre-writtens are shit. Impossible. It can't all be not good. Like there's got to be something in that you're like, oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. I mean, for me,
Also,
I think that pre-written adventures are just good ways to introduce yourself or get ideas or just experiment a little, even if you're the DM or you're the players,
you know what is great
experimentation.
to steal from pre-written adventures? Specialized mechanics.
Yes.
Steal
Yeah,
them
too.
fuckers out of pre-writtens, because WotC puts those fuckers in there all the time. Specialized, mechanics for specific things. For example, you might want to not play Descent into Avernus, but you might like the vehicle, what are they called? The Hell Rider. No, the
Infernal Engines.
Infernal Engines. You might like those stat blocks. So,
Yeah, or the specific backgrounds. And Josh, I literally cannot believe you said WotC. Most people just say wizards, but okay.
All right, Isaiah got on my ass about
some
this
people say that.
too.
Yeah, because
Some people
apparently
say
people
that.
are just starting to say WotC more, and I was
It's
like,
not
what the
that
fuck?
weird.
I've
My
heard both.
brain just turned off because I heard WotC and I'm like,
I don't think it's weird.
who? Is that a person's name?
Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, no, I get it. However, as a person who's been playing Magic and D&D for over a decade, that's just, I don't know.
I don't know about Magic, but I feel like D&D community-wise, a lot of people have been saying WotC quite a lot.
Weird. Strange.
It seems like a
Enigma.
very new thing.
Yeah. I'm not part of the D&D communities very often because, I don't partake in a lot of communities in general. I usually pick and choose because some of them are very toxic. And then there's the different places that the communities are, and they're completely different realms. Very strange.
Yeah. Oh wait.
Getting-
Side, real quick, one last thing. Side, if you're running official Dungeons and Dragons modules, look up their subreddits. So much helpful information out there.
True.
Yeah, honestly, because there's a lot of times where they're like, hey, this encounter doesn't really work the way that it's designed. Here's a different way you can do it.
There's a subreddit for every fucking module.
Yeah,
too.
it helps. It genuinely does, because there are times where the module does not make any sense, or it needs tweaking because Wizards designed it in a way, and now the game has changed so much with the new subclasses and classes that it's how do I even deal with this?
How doth do?
Yeah. That being said, this has been the Sessions Canceled podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Sessions Canceled. Remember, there's no E at the end because Twitter hates us.
The second E in cancel got booted.
Yup, it's gone.
Get out of
Can't
here.
put it
Delete.
in. Delete.
The lip.
But yeah, thank you for
And follow us on the U of the tubes.
yeah. Hit that subscribe button.
Subscribe.
Maybe click on that little bell. Maybe a like button. I don't know if you really like us. That ding dong.
And if you're listening on YouTube, what's your favorite module?
Yeah,
Let us know.
let us know.
And tell
Or
me,
don't. I don't fucking care. I'm not your mom.
tell me how
I-
hilarious Mystic is.
I'll talk about
personally.
Mystic at a completely
Horrifying.
different time. Not right now. Yeah. All right. See you later.
Bye.